For some of you who haven't been here for a while, we've made some changes, as you can tell. One is putting the meditation before the lesson, and we did that for a specific purpose. It is, through research, been discovered that when you go into meditation, your mind begins to slow down, you gain greater clarity, you have a greater sense of attention, and it allows for the lesson, I think, to be a little bit more meaningful. And we're trying different things. I certainly am open to your comments, and I'd like to see how you feel about what's happening. All of a sudden, we've added the what we call the light of God, and that is symbolic for the light of God, the life of God that's within each and every one of us. It is lit and it shines equally on all of us. It is from that light that the other candles are lit, representing every aspect of existence, and it's one flame creates many. So, this morning we're going to start a new series. It's a 6-week series called The Art of Creating Your Reality. And it is an art. Through my educational process, I learned how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. I learned how to memorize many historical dates. I learned how to use semi-proper English. I'm still having a problem with those dangling participles. Anyway, but the one thing that we don't learn is how to utilize our minds. You know, that the greatest thing that we possess, we don't learn how to utilize it to the point where we can create our life experience, where we can create our reality. We live in two great dimensions that are both a mystery. And one is space, outer space. You know, we can look up at the midnight sky, speckled with billions of stars, and all we can do is wonder. You know, where is it going? What is out there? We don't know. What is the purpose of it? When the Big Bang took place 14 billion years ago, the universe began to expand and is still expanding today, expanding outward. But to where? And for what reason? It's a mystery. Nobody knows what's out there. The other great dimension we live in is our inner space, that realm of consciousness that's within each and every one of us. We look in the mirror and we can only wonder what lies behind those eyes that are looking back at me. Now we know that the brain is there, but there's a big distinction between the brain and between the mind. The brain is like, say, a radio, and the mind is like radio waves that are played through it. Or the mind is like the program on a computer, the internet, but the brain is the actual hardware that allows the different information to be expressed. You know, our brain is 3.5 pounds of grayish-white matter. It serves us well. It's alive. Someday it will die. But the mind is totally different. It's this realm of consciousness that's just as vast and just as mysterious as outer space. The mind is unfathomable. And it never, ever ceases to be. It continues on. It is an energy. It is a spirit that is infinite. Outer space and inner space, if you will, have many things in common. There are approximately 100 billion stars in our galaxy. There's approximately 100 billion neurons in our brain. The distance or the end of the universe is unknown. The distance or the end of our consciousness is unknown. They're both mysteries that we live in. As a matter of fact, if you look at your bulletin, there's 2 pictures on the front. And as you look at it, the picture on the left is the inner workings of the mind. The picture on the right is the inner workings of, or the outer workings of the universe, taken from the Hubble telescope, of activity going on in the far reaches of the universe. They look very much the same. And that's because to a certain degree they are the same. As far out as we can go in the universe, we find that there's an energy, there's a spirit, there is a power that is everywhere present. There's no place that it isn't. If we look inside the brain and go to the greatest depths that we can with the latest microscope, we discover that very same energy is there. It's all connected. We are one in unity. But there's a big difference. Outer space, everything outside of yourself is shared with 7 billion people. It is shared with all of life. We all share this thing that we call our universe. In this universe, everybody in this very moment is experiencing the moment. We're all sharing this moment right here, right now, whether somebody on the other side of the world is sleeping, or we're here at church, or somebody's doing something else. We all share the same moment. There's nothing outside the present moment. But the difference is, between outer space and inner space, is inner space is not shared with anybody. It's all yours. Nobody can invade it. Nobody can dictate or govern it. Nobody can get inside it. Your inner space, your consciousness is all of yours. It's your kingdom, and you're the ruler of it. You can determine what goes on in there. Now, primarily our brain and our mind are used to experience our life. We come into this world, and we experience life when we go out of this world. 100% of our experience in life is relating to something, somebody, someplace, something. Our entire life is relating. We relate to a higher spirit. Some people call it God. We relate to different people in relationships. We relate to the activity of our life through the situations and circumstances. We relate to this incredible creativity that we have. We're in a constant state of relating to. In all of our relationships, everything we relate to creates our reality. Just as your inner space is yours exclusively and nobody can share it, nobody can invade it, your reality is exclusively yours as well. It's all yours, and it all comes down to the way you are relating to the world around you. There are 7 billion people on this earth approximately. There's 7 billion realities. Now the point is that each and every one of us has the power, we have the energy, we have the spirit to create our reality. We can determine the life experience we have. We can determine how we relate to different things. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that we can change the world around us. We have very, very little control over that. But we can change the experience we have as a result of it. Now, many years ago, I took up a new game. It's a racquetball type game called squash. And I was playing with somebody that's much, 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 much older than me. And well, I'm not going to go into the muches because he's sitting here, and I might embarrass poor Fred over there. But anyway, I was losing consistently to him. And so I decided to take this I can control my reality, this mind control thing, and I began to meditate. And in my meditations, I began to envision. And in that envisionment, I imagined myself on the court, playing Fred and beating him time and time and time again. I spent over a dozen hours just imaging myself on the court, playing and winning. I couldn't wait to get back from the holiday vacation and to manifest that into my reality. And the first game that we played, I lost. And then I lost again, and I lost again, and I lost again. I said, what is all this unity stuff I can create in my reality? I spent dozens of hours on this, and I'm still losing. It didn't make sense to me, but then it dawned on me. When I would lose, I would leave the gym feeling bad, feeling down on myself, thinking this is a lousy day, I'm not getting any better, I might as well quit this stupid game. But I didn't have to feel that way. My reality is one of being sad and somewhat shameful and unhappy with myself. I can have that same reality reflect my happiness. I got up. I did it. So the point is that we can't change a whole lot out there, but we can change everything about how we experience it. We can change every single thing about the emotions that we have that lead to the way we feel. Now, in creating a reality, it's a very, very simple process. Everybody does this every day of your lives. You move into some sort of an activity, something going on outside of yourself, and your senses perceive what's taking place. It presents a picture to your mind. Right now, you're looking at me, you're perceiving me through your senses, you're seeing me, you're hearing me, you're hopefully understanding me. And so then that perceptive viewpoint goes to the mind, and the mind determines what to think about it. Right now, all of you are thinking something about what's happening Perhaps you aren't. Maybe you're thinking about something that will happen later. Maybe you're thinking something else, but you're thinking about what your perceptive senses give to the mind. That thought that wraps around whatever that perception is then creates an emotion. The brain creates a chemical of sort, a chemical hormone that floods the body. And the body is flooded with this chemical that creates a feeling. And this was eventually provided for us for survival instincts. You know, if you see a tiger, you perceive it, you think about it, it could eat me, and you're flooded with a fear that creates you to run, to get away from it. So that's the process we go through. We see, we think about it, we determine how we feel about it, and then the body reacts to it. Now, the entire point of the life experience is to feel good, and our body is the barometer for that. You know, we use terms like, I have a heartache, and that's literally true. The heart aches when we have something happen to us where we lose a loved one, or we're attacked by somebody that we think a great deal about, or whatever it might be. We say our stomach turns, and that's literally true. We have all these senses in the body, alerts us as to whether we're comfortable, not comfortable, whether we like or whether we don't like. Now, in creating our reality, we have to become attuned to the way that we are feeling at any given time, and then we have to identify it. What am I feeling? If you're not feeling good because some sort of an emotional response, identify, what is this feeling I have? Is it disgust? Is it anger? Is it resentment? Is it jealousy? What's making me feel this way? We identify it, and then we define it. Why am I feeling this way? And once we understand what it is we're feeling and why we're feeling that way, it's very easy to, for a better word, I say reboot. You know, it's amazing this day. I had something go wrong with my cable on my television. I called up the people that are supposed to help me, and the guy tells me unplug it. Unplug everything. And wait a little bit. Then plug it back in. I did it. It fixed itself. I don't know how it can do that. But we can do the same thing when we're starting to feel that way. To create, the art of creating a reality is to reboot, so to speak. And that's a step back, step out. Meditation is perfect for this. It's the fastest way to reboot. But then when you come back out of meditation, or you get back into the situation, you discover that you're in a different reality because you're not feeling as badly as you were before. It's very simple. Now, the first step in creating, or the art of creating reality, is we talked about the different dimensions or the different arenas that we experience. There's the spiritual arena. There is the other people, places, and things. There's the activity of our lives, the creative activity of our mind. But what is the one common denominator in all of that? It's ourselves. It is you. You are present in every single relationship, every single life experience that you have a relationship with yourself. And if your relationship with yourself isn't healthy, if it's not whole, if it's not harmonious, if it's not peaceful, if it's not loving, you're taking part of that dis-ease, displeasure into every single thing you do. It all has to start with how you relate to yourself. You know, we have a tendency to have that critical voice within our mind be very harsh at times. I read a statistic where by the time we're 18, we have been told 180,000 times that we can't do something. I mean, it's rampant in our upbringing. You can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that, or no, no, no. Another statistic is 77% of the self-talk that goes on in our mind, of us talking to ourselves, about ourselves, is negative. Very seldom do I pat myself on the back and say, good job, Duke. Very seldom do I pat myself on the back and say, wow, you made it all the way to work without getting in an accident or irritating somebody. You know, or, gosh, Duke, you know, you haven't gotten the finger for 11 days. You are... You are doing so good. But when the opposite happens, I kind of get beat up on myself. 77% of our self-talk is of a negative nature. So on the front of the bulletin, I listed several things that you can look at. These are things to stop doing to yourself. And I wouldn't take on the whole list at once, but find something on there that perhaps you do quite often, and just make a point to quit doing that. And once again, it goes back to, how am I feeling? What am I feeling? Why am I feeling that way? Step back, reboot, and then move back into the situation. Next week, we're going to continue with the art of creating your reality. And we're going to look at more of how the brain works. We're going to use a lot of the things that Dr. Kaku has written in his latest book on the brain. He was here several weeks ago. And the more we learn how to use our minds, and the more we create a reality that's of our liking. We know that we have certain values, and the greatest desire we have is to have those values show up in our reality. We all value peace of mind, we all value harmony, and we all value love. We are able to create a reality that has more of those characteristics. We don't have to settle for less. So I invite you to come back next week as we take another look at this thing. And now, in a moment, we're going to be taking the offering. So you might prepare yourself for that. At the same time, I'd like to have Steve Perry come forward, and he's going to tell us a little bit about himself and the next song that we're going to hear. So Stephen Perry, would you please come forward? Were you prepared for this?
Good morning. I'm a school teacher. I'm always prepared. Because you never know what's going to happen, right?
Right. So where do you teach?
I am in my 30th year of teaching. Started teaching when I was 3. And I teach at Lee's Summit North High School.
And how many choirs do you direct?
I share, how many choirs do we have? 6 or 7, I've lost count, with Jonathan Krinke, who was a graduate of Lee's Summit North, and Jonathan used to sing in the choir here. And he works with me. We actually team teach 5 choirs, and we each have 1 other choir beyond that.
Wow.
So,
a lot of kids.
a lot of kids.
And each year you take your choirs to Europe, I believe?
We go to Europe every 2 years. I travel with a group called Kansas Ambassadors of Music. And we've taken as many as 450 kids across Europe in one trip, 16 days, 9 buses. It's an adventure.
Well, tell us what you're going to sing for us and what the meaning of it is.
Thanks for asking. We are going to sing a piece for you today entitled Zion's Walls. It's a revivalist song, and it was set for choir by the great American composer Aaron Copland. And Zion's Walls refers to Jerusalem, literally, in the Old Testament. And it also represents, metaphysically for us, higher levels of consciousness. And what I love about this song is the phrase, come fathers, come mothers, come sisters, come brothers, and join us in singing praises to Zion. And that's what we're all here sharing together, is that journey of seeking higher levels of consciousness and living in that higher level of consciousness.
Great. Before the choir performs for us, perhaps we can repeat our affirmation. Please repeat after me. I am a blessing to Unity Temple. Unity Temple is a blessing to me. I go forth to do the good that is mine to do. Amen.
lobby. We have spiritual cinema downstairs in space, and it is The Man from Earth. Oh, Entanglement. Really good. So go downstairs and see that. The prayer chaplains, as always, are wearing the white stoles. They are here to share that sacred space with you and to hold your prayers with you. And so please take advantage of them. And who's going to say our prayer for protection? All of those.